I just got a hair transplant and you guys have so many questions for me and I want to answer as much as I can in this video. No BS, you know I keep it real with y'all, so let's get into it. Biggest question besides why is my forehead still huge is the cost, so let's talk about it. With my platform and documenting my journey, I've had hundreds of clinics reach out to me to get this done for free and I took them up on that. That was not my intention when I started posting all this hair content. I was just trying to get my hair back. I know it's a privilege and I'm just beyond grateful. I've also been filming with a documentary team and hopefully you'll be seeing this on a large streaming platform. I did this locally at Dr. Parcel Mahibi's hair restoration in Woodland Hills, California. People wonder why I didn't go to Turkey. I didn't want to deal with medical travel and doing it locally was a lot more convenient. Having a larger procedure, having a doctor that does the consultation, the design work, and is hands-on in the procedure room was a huge plus for me. He also trains doctors globally, has a lot of A-list clientele, and has pioneered medical equipment within the industry. As far as the procedure, there are so many layers to this, and I'm gonna give you guys the inside scoop. So I got a FUE procedure done where they take individual follicles from the back and side of your head and then placed on the top of your head. Most places will have some guy come in, draw where you want your hair, and then they'll send you to a room and all those technicians will pull out all those hairs that you need, they'll count them out, and then they'll place them in your head. Now I wanna talk about attention to detail. I did 4,126 grafts, and each graft can have a different number of hair follicles in that one single graft. And if you don't want your hairline to look pluggy and want a more natural look, you're gonna want to have single hair follicle grafts along the hairline, followed by 2s, 3s, and then 4s for density. The most follicles you can have in one graft is like 6. That's super rare, and they did find a 5 follicle graft for me, so I had pretty decent density. I also took in consideration the amount of grafts I had for the rest of my life, because this is not an endless supply of donor area. Once you run out of these, you're no longer able to put them on the top of your head. And when you start getting into these 6,000 plus grafts, you can really start to over harvest the donor area and it could turn into scarring, and this will be just as patchy and bald as it was on top before the procedure. Also, the transplanted hairs should stay after the procedure. Some transplants have failed take rates where they don't actually take and come back in. And if you continue to lose your native hairs after the transplant, you're left with your transplanted hairs, which you would still have this thinned out look and it would look just as bad as you did before the procedure. It's all case dependent and really just depends on how bald you're actually going. With all that kept in mind and me continuing to bald, if I don't have my native hairs 10 years from now, we might have to go back into the donor area and reinforce density down the road. So if I did another 1,400 grafts just on my temples and then another 1,000 grafts along the hairline, I'd probably be at the 6,000 graft mark already, and I would almost be out of grafts for the rest of my life. So we had to keep it more conservative to build density. It'll look better in the long run, plus it'll look a lot more natural without over harvesting the donor area. We also leveraged the grafts on how I want to design and style my hair. I normally style left to right when I had hair, so we did leverage more hair to the left side of my head versus the right. And he did this using simultaneous extraction and placement, meaning he was taking out follicles and placing them in the spot they needed to go. That way they weren't out of the body for any longer than they're supposed to. Most places just take them out, count them, then put them in. He's taking them out and putting them in almost at the same time. That way it gives the hair a better survival rate post-transplant. So many layers. This is the rabbit hole of making sure you find a good clinic. Now the industry standard in the US is anywhere from $5 to $7 a graft. Now I'm on my way to a Norwood 6 and had a very large procedure, so for most people, they won't need this many grafts. Now there are doctors that will charge $8, $9, $10 a graft, and Mohibi does lean into the higher side of the price range. Plenty of people that get it done overseas for under $6 that I know personally that have great results, and I'll tag them in this video because they document it as well. In the cosmetic world, you don't always pay for what you get. I've seen great transplants for under $4,000, and I've seen really bad ones for $15,000 plus. Finances are very important, and it's not worth risking your financial struggle for a hair transplant. It's all about doing your research and limiting variables. People wonder why I waited so long to get a hair transplant. I started growing back my hair. I did not have the finances even for the affordable option. I wanted to see how much hair I could bring back with the products that I could afford. So happy I did this first before getting a hair transplant, knowing what I know now, and here's why. If you're losing your hair and you're not doing anything to prevent any further hair loss, no matter what stage of hair loss you're in, and your game plan is just to be like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll just get a hair transplant, you will have to pay for more grafts for more coverage. The doctor will be designing and placing hairs on your head for what your hair looks like in that moment. If you get work done and get a new hairline, but you're not doing anything to prevent your further hair loss of your native hairs, then you're gonna have transplanted hairs on the front of your head as your native hairs still start to recede. And then you're gonna have pockets of hair that you'll need to fill in down the road, which will mean more transplants. So you wanna do everything you can to stop your hair loss before the transplant to avoid these issues. You also want to make sure you can handle the medication and the products before the procedure. That way you're not having any side effects or issues after the procedure. because you'll still need to use this stuff after the procedure to keep as much native hairs as possible. Prevention is important in any stage of your hair loss, but specifically for people that are going bald and above a Norwood 2, you need medical intervention. Finasteride, minoxidil, microneedling, anything you can do to slow the progression of hair loss is very important. So build a big enough base, stop your hair loss, and continue using it after the procedure. Think about it this way: if you were overweight and you wanted to lose weight, would your first thought be to go get liposuction or get on a diet? Even if you did, you would still want to get on a diet before the procedure and after the procedure to make sure the surgery goes well. Now, I get a lot of questions and controversy regarding my own hair growth line and me getting a hair transplant. I have my own hair growth company called The Main Solution, where I sell products to help grow and prevent hair loss. I'm still gonna be using this before procedure and after procedure. With my platform, I want to make something that's custom to my brand and what I've tried along the way and bring it to you guys. I want to talk really quick on how people might be a little upset that I got a hair transplant when this whole thing has been about trying to grow back my hair. This was never about growing back my hair naturally. It was always just about getting my hair back. And it just gets me closer to my end goal of having more hair, feeling better about myself, and having more confidence. And if you guys were here from the start, you guys know I've talked about this plenty of times, and I've always been open to getting a hair transplant. Even brought you along and got a professional to-pay installment and showed you guys the progression of accepting myself even without hair. And that it's okay to not have hair to feel confident about yourself. It's about doing things for you that you want to do for yourself to feel good about you. I'm so grateful for your guys' support. I want to do everything I can to give as much of me back to you as I can to help you guys along your journey. Whew, that was a lot, but if you have any more questions for me, let me know, put them in the comment section, and I'll keep you guys posted on the journey. Love y'all, peace.